Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी महारानी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri 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 Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 17, verse number 29. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaha Swarupa Nubhave Na Nirdhuta Dravya Kriyakaraka Bhramormaye Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaha Swarupa Nubhave Na Nirdhuta Dravya Kriyakaraka Bhramormaye Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaha Swarupa Nubhave Na Nirdhuta Dravya Kriyakaraka Bhramormaye Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaha Swarupanubhavena Nirdhuta Dravya Kriyakaraka Vibhramormaye Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Dravya Kriyakaraka Vibhramormaye Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaha Swarupa Nubhavena Nirdhuta Dravya Kriyakaraka Vibhramormaye Dharo Vacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Mayaya Vinyastanana Tanave Gunatmane Namaha Swarupa Nubhavena Nirdhuta Dravya Kriyakaraka Vibhramormaye Dhara, the planet Earth. Uvacha said, Namaha, I offer my obeisances. Parasmai, unto the transcendence. Purushaya, unto the person. Mayaya, by the material energy. Vinyasta, expanded. Nana, various. Tanave, whose forms. Guna Atmane, unto the source of the three modes of material nature. Namaha, I offer my obeisances. Swarupa, of the real form. Anubhavena, by understanding. Nirdhuta, not affected by. Dravya, matter. Kriya, action. Karaka, doer. Vibhrama, bewilderment. Urmaye, the waves of material existence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The planet Earth spoke, My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are transcendental in your position, and by your material energy you have expanded yourself in various forms and species of life through the interaction of the three modes of material nature. Unlike some other masters, you always remain in your transcendental position and are not affected by the material creation, which is subject to different material interactions. Consequently, you are not bewildered by material activities. Purport: After King Prithu gave his royal command, the planet Earth, in the shape of a cow, could understand that the king was a directly empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the king knew everything, past, present, and future. Thus, there was no possibility of the earth's cheating him. The earth was accused of hiding the seeds of all herbs and grains, and therefore she is preparing to explain how the seeds of these herbs and grains can be again exposed. The earth knew that the king was very angry with her, and she realized that unless she pacified his anger, there was no possibility of placing a positive program before him. Therefore, in the beginning of her speech, she very humbly presents herself as a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's body. She submits that the various bodily forms manifest in the physical world are but different parts and parcels of the Supreme Gigantic Body. It is said that the lower planetary systems are parts and parcels of the legs of the Lord, whereas the upper planetary systems are parts and parcels of the Lord's head. The Lord creates this material world by his external energy, but this external energy is in one sense not different from him. Yet at the same time, the Lord is not directly manifest in the external energy, but is always situated in the spiritual energy. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya Dhyakshena Prakritihi. Material nature is working under the direction of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord is not unattached to the external energy, and he is addressed in this verse as Guna Atma, the source of the three modes of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 13.15, Nirgunam Guna Bhoktracha. Although the Lord is not attached to the external energy, he is nonetheless the master of it. The philosophy of Lord Chaitanya, upholding that the Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation, Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, is very easily understandable in this connection. The planet Earth explains that although the Lord is attached to the external energy, he is Nirdhuta. He is completely free from the activities of the external energy. The Lord is always situated in his internal energy. Therefore, in this verse it is stated, Swarupa Anubhavena, the edge of the external energy as well as the internal energy, just as his devotee remains always. The Lord remains completely in his internal potency and yet has full knowledge of the external energy as well as the internal energy, just as his devotee remains always in a transcendental position, keeping himself in the service of the Lord without becoming attached to the material body. Srila Rupa Goswami says that the devotee who is always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is always liberated, regardless of his material situation. If it is possible for a devotee to remain transcendental, it is certainly possible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to remain in his internal potency without being attached to the external potency. There should be no difficulty in understanding this situation. Just as a devotee is never bewildered by his material body, the Lord is never bewildered by the external energy of this material world. A devotee is not hampered by the material body, although he is situated in a physical body that runs according to so many material conditions. Just as there are 5 kinds of air functioning within the body and so many organs, the hands, legs, tongue, genitals, rectum, etc., all working differently. The spirit soul, the living entity, who is in full knowledge of his position, is always engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and is not concerned with the bodily functions. Although the Lord is connected with the material world, he is always situated in his spiritual energy and is always unattached to the functions of the material world. As far as the material body is concerned, there are 6 waves or symptomatic material conditions: hunger, thirst, lamentation, bewilderment, old age and death. The liberated soul is never concerned with these 6 physical interactions. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being the all-powerful master of all energies, has some connection with the external energy, but he is always free from the interactions of the external energy in the material world. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Giram Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Karoti Nataranam Paramanandam Shri Chaitanya Ishvara. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from chapter 17, and we see that Mother Earth, Prithvi, she has become very frightened of Prithu Maharaj, because Prithu Maharaj is running behind her with a bow and arrow, and he's very determined to cut her to pieces. So initially Prithvi, she did not realize that what she has done. She kept running for a while, and then she stopped in a state of helplessness, turned towards Prithu Maharaj and asked him that, why do you want to kill me? What sinful activity have I committed that you want to annihilate me? And Prithu Maharaj then informs her that you have disobeyed my orders, and we performed so many fire sacrifices. You took the share of all those sacrifices and you did not produce enough resources. So consequently, there was even a little touch of arrogance in Prithvi's words when she says, I am the boat which is holding all this paraphernalia, and if you decide to kill me, then I will fall into the Garbha ocean. And if I am annihilated, then all the citizens, they will eventually die. So killing me is actually not wise. And then Prithu Maharaj tells her that, you have become very puffed up, you have become very arrogant, but you should know that just how you took up the form of a cow by your mystic powers, I can uphold the entire population by my mystic powers. So Srila Prabhupada explains in that verse's purport that since Prithu Maharaj is the Shaktiavesh avatar, the empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has the power of Sankarshan. So he doesn't really need Mother Earth, Prithvi, to hold the population. He can do that by himself. So the moment Prithvi realizes that she's not dealing with somebody ordinary, he's the incarnation of God, she decides that, okay, he's in a very angry state right now, and the only way to subside his anger is to offer prayers and obeisances. So she begins offering obeisances to Prithu Maharaj. Now this is a very classic way of subsiding somebody's anger, especially if a mother is angry at her child and she is very infuriated by something that he or she might have done. Now there are two kinds of kids. The first kind of kid is the one who will in turn argue with her, and he or she will get angry about the fact that, why are you yelling at me? Why are you getting angry? And they might even show some disrespectful behavior, which does nothing but it just fuels the fire, which is already very intense. Yet at the same time, there are the second category of kid who realize that, okay, my mother, she's very upset right now, and the only way to subside her anger is to say something very nice, is to apologize to her, is to tell her that I'm her son only. And speaking from my personal experience, the second option is definitely wiser. So Prithvi, Mother Earth, Prithvi, she realizes that the only way she can pacify Prithu Maharaj is if she offers obeisances, and there is a very interesting way in how she is glorifying Prithu Maharaj. See, there are different kinds of devotees. We have studied different kinds of prayers. There are prayers by Kunti Maharani, prayers by Vritrasur. Over here, Prithvi, how she is offering prayers is in the mood of surrender. She tells Prithu Maharaj that you are the source of this entire creation. Namaha parasmai purushaya mayaya vinyasta nana tanave gunatmane. You expanded yourself in various forms and species of life, and I am one of them. I am your part and parcel. Now, what is very striking about this prayer is that she is submitting herself as a part and parcel in the mood of surrender. We can imagine that if our spiritual life is like a very tall skyscraper, if a builder wants to build a very tall skyscraper, he needs to have the foundation very strong. If you want to build a skyscraper which is 57 floors tall, like the Empire State Building in New York or any other tall building in the world, you need to have the foundation very strong. Now we can envision whatever kinds of floors we want to build, how they will look, the interior, the exterior. Floors like Madhurya, Vatsalya, Sakhya, Dasya. But if the foundation of that skyscraper, which is surrender, is missing, then our building will collapse very soon. If not instantly, then within a couple of days. So surrender is the very basic quality, is like a preliminary quality that any devotee needs to have if they want to start progressing in spiritual life. So somebody might ask that how can we become surrendered? Surrender is a very serious matter. Krishna gives instruction to Arjuna in chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, verse 66, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja, that you take exclusive shelter of me, surrender just unto me. And somebody might say that surrender is a very serious affair. We are not even surrendered to people from whom we get tangible benefits. Our parents, the company we work for, or any other person from whom we are getting any kind of seeable, like tangible benefits. So how can we surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead whom we have not even met? And Krishna, when he gave this instruction to Arjuna, he just gave the instruction and he actually forgot. He actually did not explain to him how Arjuna or anyone like us can surrender to Krishna. This is why Krishna and Balram, they descended as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda about 500 years back on this very planet Earth to teach people how they can surrender. How is it that they can develop the feeling of surrender? And what's the solution? What did they prescribe? Surrender comes through service. If somebody offers devotional service, they will become surrendered in the due course of time. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, he very beautifully describes Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahyam indriyay sevon mukhe hi jivado swayam eva spuratyadaha. That the material senses, they're not capable of understanding Krishna. They're not apt to really understand logically or emotionally that who is Krishna. Na bhavet grahyam indriyay. But sevon mukhe hi jivado, if somebody just takes up to devotional service, swayam eva spuratyadaha, all the qualities, name, form, pastimes, every aspect of Krishna and every aspect of Krishna's devotees, it will automatically manifest in that person's mind. So surrender and service. Surrender comes through service. And surrender and service, they have a very hand-in-hand, vice versa relationship. Somebody who performs service, the more service he does, the more surrendered he becomes. And the more surrendered somebody is, the more service they will perform. And what is the outcome of doing so much of service then becoming surrendered? is that you really understand Krishna, which is the point that Srila Rupa Goswami highlights in this verse, that without performing service, you cannot understand Krishna. This is why a lot of karmakandis, mayavadis, and even jnanis, for that matter, up to some extent, they have a hard time understanding God. So what they do is they philosophize their own understanding of God. Especially mayavadis, they have a very interesting conception. They say that a Brahma, which is the supreme consciousness, is covered by Maya itself. So somebody who's the master of something, that master has been taken over by his servant. And they say that when this covering is removed, then Brahma, or the supreme consciousness, that will become reinstated to its original position, which is completely falsified. Prithvi Maharani, she is saying, Namaha Swarupa Nubhavena Nirdhuta, that although you are interacting with the material energy, although you are not unattached to it, but at the same time, you are not affected by the material activities. You are not affected by any kind of material outcomes. So, an interesting way to understand this is, I don't know how many of you have gone to beaches. I'm pretty sure everyone who lives in Australia, they've been to the beach at least once in their life. So you might have seen that the kids, what they do is they build sand castles. They'll take some bucket, they'll fill up some water from the ocean, and they'll bring it to the shore, and they'll start building the castle. So we can imagine that we want 2 cups. 1 cup, I'm going to make it out of the sand. I'm going to use sand and water. I'm going to make 1 cup for myself, and the other I'm just going to use a normal ceramic cup. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take both the cups. I'm going to go to the shore of the ocean, and I'll submerge the first cup into the ocean. Now, if a cup which is made out of sand gets submerged into the ocean, I'm left with no cup at all. Because of the nature of sand, everything will get dissolved into the ocean. Boom. But at the same time, if I submerge the ceramic cup and I take it out, it is very much in its original position, and all the water simply trickles off by the sides of the cup. So Jivatma, under the influence of Maya, can be thought of like a sand cup. The moment it interacts with the material energies, it loses its original identity, and it identifies itself with all that is material. But no matter how much you submerge the ceramic cup in the ocean, it doesn't get dampened, it doesn't get moistened, nothing really happens to it. So Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees, they are like those ceramic cups. No matter for how long you keep them into the ocean or take them out multiple times, it doesn't affect them at all. Because they are transcendental in all their activities, in their behavior, in their dealings with people. So it doesn't matter that they are living in this material body. Srila Prabhupada explains that they also have working bodily organs like us, hands, legs, tongue, genital. But since they are transcendental, since they have reinstated their relationship, they have understood their relationship with God, they are not affected by any kind of material suffering or material infliction. There is a beautiful example of Srila Haridas Thakur, when he was called to the court of the Muslim ruler in Bengal. And the Muslim ruler, he put an allegation saying that you are born in a Muslim family, how come you're chanting the names of Krishna? I am ordering you that you should take up your Islamic practices and you should quit chanting the name of Krishna. Because in Bengal there were some people who had become envious of Haridas Thakur, that this guy, he's a Muslim, he's chanting Krishna's names, and not only he's chanting Krishna's names, he's converting people, he's preaching Krishna consciousness in all of Bengal. So Haridas Thakur, he gave a very beautiful reply saying that God is one and he has innumerable names, out of which there is one name Krishna, the other name is Allah. I prefer to chant Krishna and I cannot give up the chanting of Krishna's names. So the Muslim ruler, he became so enraged that he said that, okay, so you're disobeying my order. I order that you be beaten up in 22 marketplaces until either you stop chanting the name of Krishna or you quit your body. So under normal circumstances, somebody would have died, somebody would have quit their life by just getting beaten up in one marketplace. But Srila Haridas Thakur, he kept getting beaten up in 22 marketplaces and nothing happened to him. Every time the soldiers would whip him, he'd say, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And at the end, all of us know that because the soldiers realized that he's not going to die, they prayed to him that, if you don't die, then the ruler is going to kill us. So he went into a trance and he pretended that he died. So this is the position of transcendental devotees. This is the position of pure devotees. Their dealings, their activities, they're not understandable. It's inconceivable for us. So this is why atheists, Mayavadis, Gyanis, they cannot understand who is Krishna. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.15, Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhamah mayaya pahrita jnana asuram bhavam ashrita. That people who are foolish, lowest among mankind, they do not understand me. They take the nature of atheists and they have demoniac attributes. They cannot understand who I am unless somebody renders devotional service. Like Vritrasur. Vritrasur was an asura, but he was one of the pure devotees. So Prithvi, she's offering respects to Prithu Maharaj as a part and parcel, and she goes on to describe how not only herself, but the entire cosmic manifestation is situated within God. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that the lower planetary systems, they are part and parcels of the legs of the Lord. The upper planetary system, they are part and parcels of the head of the Lord. Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita. Yathakasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra gomahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthanitya upadharaya. That just as the mighty wind which is blowing everywhere is constricted within the periphery of the sky, similarly all the created beings, they rest in me. And Krishna, he goes on to describe in chapter 10, verse number 8, that aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everything and everything is emanating from me. But important are the next two lines which Krishna says, is that iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvita. Those who are in knowledge of this, those who understand that I am the source of everything, I am the supreme personality of Godhead, they understand this truth and then they render devotional service unto me. This is why Mother Earth, Prithvi, she surrendered, because she realized, where can I really run? Where can I really keep running for such a long time? The supreme personality of Godhead resides everywhere. And since he can see the past, present and future, there is no point cheating him. Srila Prabhupada talks about Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, the glorious masterpiece philosophy given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the simultaneous existence of oneness and difference with God and the beings. So we can understand that Krishna and his devotees, qualitatively, they are one. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda. The composition is Sat Chit Ananda. And we are part and parcels. So if I want to understand how salty the ocean is, I don't need to drink the entire ocean. Just one drop of that ocean can give me an idea what kind of salt composition the ocean would have. So similarly, just as the drop of an ocean is qualitatively one with the entire ocean, so are the pure devotees of the Lord. They are qualitatively one with the Lord. And somebody who has reached this stage where they have re-established their connection with Krishna, they do not lament for any kind of material loss, any kind of material suffering. And as I mentioned earlier, their activities, their dealings are also transcendental. For example, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, when he was in Navadvipa, And he was an Avdhuta. He did not have any shelter. He would live just about in any place. He was like a nomad. He would go on traveling, and his only business was chanting the holy name. So there are accounts which tell what he used to have. Normally, we just go to the temple and we take prasadam. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he would eat the soil of Navadvipa. And people would ask him that, why are you eating the soil? You can just cook something for yourself. And he used to say that, no, Mahaprabhu, he performed his pastimes on this very earth, so it has become divine. So my food is this soil. This is what he used to have. If somebody, it is not prescribed. If somebody like me goes and tries to eat the soil of Navadvipa, I'll probably get kidney stone. So we cannot imitate the acharyas. We cannot imitate their activities. They are completely transcendental. And this is why Srila Prabhupada mentions that just like the devotees of Krishna are transcendental, there should be no difficulty in understanding that Krishna himself is transcendental. I mean, wouldn't it be very weird that the devotees are transcendental but Krishna is not? That Krishna gets affected by material energy, right? So this is one simple truth which a lot of people fail to understand. So the pure devotees, they are free from any kind of lamentation, and they don't care what all is happening to them. There is a very beautiful pastime of Srila Bilvamangal Thakur. It is a story of how somebody, he got an initial momentum, an initial jerk. He started rendering devotional service. He became surrendered. And then after surrendered, he attained the pure love of Godhead. So Bilvamangal Thakur, he was born in a South Indian family. And initially, when he was growing up, his father was a Brahmin, and he grew up with some Brahminical traits. But later on, when he grew up, due to some bad association, he began hanging out at unwanted places like prostitution houses, and he began drinking, smoking, eating meat. So when he began going to prostitution house, there was a prostitute named Chintamani, and he got her association. So what he would do is he would go visit Chintamani every other day. So one day, Bilvamangal Thakur's father, he passed away. And that day, Bilvamangal Thakur was performing the final rites of his father. And the Brahman, he was uttering the mantras. But even at that point of time, Bilvamangal Thakur was so much attached to the prostitute that the only thing that he could think of was, I just need to get done with this business as soon as possible, and I need to go see the prostitute. So as soon as the rites were performed, Bilvamangal Thakur, he went off. And that day it was pouring. It was raining very hard, and the river had overflown. Even the boatmen were not present over there. It was that kind of a situation. So even the prostitute Chintamani, overlooking her window, she thought that, okay, Bilvamangal Thakur is not going to come today. Bilvamangal Thakur is he's not going to be here. So what she did was she asked her guards to lock off the door, and she went inside and she began taking some rest. Now Bilvamangal Thakur, because he was so much addicted, he was so much attached to sense gratification, what he did was he saw a log of wood in the river, and he held on to that log of wood, and he could not even swim properly. The gush of the river was so strong that he could not even swim properly, but he held on to that log of wood and he somehow crossed the river. So the moment he crossed the river and he stepped out, he saw that what he was thinking to be the log of wood was actually somebody's dead body. And he was quite surprised. He was like, okay, I did not even realize that it was not a wooden log. Now he reached Chintamani's residence and he started banging the door very hard. And nobody could hear because she had already told the guards that Bilvamangal Thakur is not going to come, so just close the door and I'm going inside. And it was raining so heavily that no voice could go inside. Nobody could hear him. So Bilvamangal Thakur, he kept banging for some time, and then he saw that there is a rope which is hanging by the corner of the wall. He held on to that rope and he started climbing the wall. And finally, he jumped off the fence and got inside the main backyard. Now, the moment he jumped off, he looked at the rope and he realized that it was actually a snake. A snake was hanging by that wall's edge, and he held on to the snake and then he got in. And then he was again surprised that, wow, okay, I didn't even realize that it was a snake. Then he went to Chintamani's main bedroom and he knocked and she let him in. And she was extremely surprised. She said that, how is it that you have come here? Have you looked at the weather outside? It's raining heavily. It's pouring. I thought you weren't going to be here. How did you come? Then he began recounting everything, that it was my dad's funeral. I was performing the rites. But even at that time, I was just very anxious to leave the place and come see you. Then I realized that, oh, it is raining. So what I did was I held on to a wooden log, only to realize later on that it's actually a dead body. And then I reached your residence. Nobody was opening the door. I held on to the rope. I came inside, but then I realized it was a snake. Now, Chintamani, after hearing all this account, she was astonished. She was stunned that, oh my God, how is it that you're so attached to me? How is it that, I mean, what is this kind of addiction? So Chintamani, she said something so powerful that changed the fate of Bilvamangal Thakur. Chintamani said that if you had so much determination and perseverance to see Krishna, you would have attained him for sure. The kind of efforts and the kind of ordeals you have gone through to come see me today, if you had gone through such ordeals, half of it to just see Krishna, he would have manifested. And Bilvamangal Thakur, although he was from a Brahmin family and he knew everything about God, but this just one simple sentence changed something in him so much that someone who was so addicted to this sense pleasure right now, he instantly became put off and he began rethinking his entire life. So he just offered obeisances to Chintamani and left the residence. And he was a very rich guy. He was a very rich Brahmin. So he sold all of his property and he gave it away to some of his relatives, and he decided that this remaining life I want to serve Krishna. So he took a turn towards Vrindavan. He went to one of the temples and he took Diksha and he began chanting Krishna's names. But again, we also realize that when we transition from a very materialistic lifestyle into bhakti, there are some habits, there are some traces which don't go away so easily. You need enough time and enough sadhana to eradicate them. So on his way to Vrindavan, he was sitting by the shore of a river and he was chanting Krishna's names, and then there came a very beautiful young woman, probably half his age, and she was there to get some water. So she was filling her pot, and Bilvamangal Thakur, he just looked in that direction and he saw this beautiful girl. So at first when he looked at her, he realized that, wow, she's so beautiful. So all those memories, all those initial traces of whatever kind of business he was into, all that started resurfacing in his mind. So the lady, at first she thought, okay, he's a sadhu, so she offered obeisances. But then he kept looking at her, he kept staring at her, and she became very uncomfortable. So what she did was she filled up her pot and then she started going home. And Bilvamangal Thakur, because of his previous habits, he started following this young lady. So she became very uncomfortable and she reached home and she asked her husband to open the door and everything. And she went inside and she told her husband that this guy who's seemingly in an attire of a sadhu. I don't think he's a good guy. He's been following me and he was staring at me very lustfully. So her husband was a very intelligent person. What he did was he saw Bilvamangal Thakur standing outside and he invited him in. And he said that, okay, you're a sadhu and please accept my obeisances. How can we serve you? Would you like to have some prasadam? And he said, yeah, I would definitely have some prasadam. If your wife is cooking, then it would be even better. So Bilvamangal Thakur was talking to her husband, but he was constantly staring at the kitchen because he could not wait to see her come outside. And the wife, she was puzzled that what kind of a husband he is. He should rather chastise him and get him beaten up for what he's done. He's inviting him inside. So she prepared the food. She came outside. She offered him, and all the time, even while Bilvamangal Thakur was having prasadam, he was constantly staring at the woman. And the husband, he could also see this. So Bilvamangal Thakur, he said that, I feel really tired. So what I'll do is I'll take some rest if you allow me to take some rest in one of the rooms. And the husband said, yes, sure, please have some rest. And whenever you feel like going, just let me know. So later on, Bilvamangal Thakur went inside the room and he slept for a while. Now this woman, she asked her husband that, what is your plan? What is it that you want to do? And he said that if he is really a sincere devotee, then he will come to his senses today. And if he is not, then I will deal with him. So he instructed his wife to go and serve Bilvamangal Thakur. Ask him if he needs anything or how can she please him. So although the wife did not want to do this, but she had faith in her husband. So she went inside the room, and Bilvamangal Thakur, he got up and he was astonished that, oh, why has she come inside the room? And all those memories, they again started resurfacing. So then she said that, I understand that you're attracted to me, and since you are our guest, then it is my duty, it is my and my husband's duty to serve you. So how can I serve you? Please tell me. The moment Bilvamangal Thakur heard this, he thought to himself that how wretched and how fallen can someone like me be? I gave up all of this business, I gave up all of these affairs such a long time back. And just the mere beauty of a woman, it has made me come to this again. I have become so shameless. I took Diksha, I'm chanting Krishna's names, and yet I'm engaged in all of these affairs. So Bilvamangal Thakur, in a state of embarrassment, he said to the woman that, you want to serve me, right? Can you please give me your hairpin? So normally women, they put some hairpin at the back of their head. So she took 2 hairpins and he gave it to him. Bilvamangal Thakur, he thought to himself that if my eyes cannot be engaged in serving Krishna, if because of these eyes I keep falling down all the time, it is better to not have any eyes at all. So he took the 2 hairpins and he plucked out his eyes. Now Bilvamangal Thakur, being a pure devotee of the Lord, he is completely transcendental. Nobody can do this. We cannot gouge out our eyes. If we engage our eyes in seeing something else other than Krishna, we will probably forgive ourselves that, okay, what can I do? I'm just a human. But Bilvamangal Thakur, he was completely above the bodily conception of life. He plucked out his eyes. And he left the residence. And although he did not have material vision, through inner vision he could see Krishna. And later in the story it is said that when he finally reached Vrindavan, Krishna himself, he came as a cowherd boy and he began helping Bilvamangal Thakur with day-to-day affairs. So initially Bilvamangal Thakur, he did not realize that who is this young boy, but finally by touching him, by taking his embrace, he could realize that, oh, this is Krishna himself who has come to help me. And the moment he realized this, Krishna, he left the place and left him with ecstatic separation. So after all of this, Bilvamangal Thakur wrote the beautiful Krishna Karanamrit. And there is a very beautiful verse in Krishna Karanamrit that I specifically like a lot. Amunyadanyani dinantarani hare twadalokanam antarena anath bandho karunaika sindho ha hanta katham nayami. That I'm passing my days and nights restlessly, amunyadanyani dinantarani hare twadalokanam antarena, without seeing you. You came, you helped me, you were there with me, but now you've left me. Anath bandho karunaika sindho, that you are the shelter, you are the friend of people who have no friends. Karunaika sindho, you are the ocean of mercy. Ha hanta katham nayami, what shall I do now? So this is the level of transcendence, this is the level of detachment that the devotees have, which Srila Prabhupada describes towards the very end. So I think that if we can take up to service, then we can proceed towards surrender. And after we proceed towards surrender, we can definitely attain the pure love of Godhead. With this, I'd like to conclude my session. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Any questions, comments, feedback? Hare Krishna Prabhu. Right. So, Prabhu, again, I would not like to speculate because I also had this question in my mind. But we have to understand that Bhudevi, she has her position as a demigod as well. So, one part of Bhudevi is that she is the consort of Lord Vishnu and she is eternally serving him. And one part of Bhudevi is that she is a demigod. In fact, in one of the previous verses, Prithu Maharaj intentionally addresses her as a demigod and says that you, as a demigod, your duty was to actually provide the sufficient foodstuffs, the sufficient resources, but you did not do so. So, according to my understanding, and I could be wrong, but again I'll try to give you an answer, is that demigods, a lot of times, they act like this out of conceit, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Even when Lord Krishna, he went to the heavenly planets to get the Parijat flower for Satyabhama, the demigods fought with him. They knew he's the supreme personality of Godhead. So a lot of the times it is to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord, but we have to understand that sometimes even pure devotees, because Bhudevi, as I said, she's a consort of Lord Vishnu, they also act in the mode of a demigod because they have this conceit. And Bhudevi, she was, in one way, we can say that she performed her duty perfectly because King Vane, he was a demoniac king. So she decided that if he's going to create so much of ruckus, I might as well just retract my resources. But when Prithu Maharaj came, when Prithu Maharaj finally incarnated, she did not decide to reveal the seeds of the herbs and grains from the position of a demigod, and this is why she got chastised afterwards. So I hope that answers your question. But I'll try to get back to you. I'll get more information on this, and I'll get back to you shortly. Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, a lot of times we need initial jerk, initial momentum. For example, how we came into bhakti. Something or the other happens. Any event, any kind of words some said by someone, which actually makes us wonder what is happening. Obviously, becoming a pure devotee and going through that transformation, we need to have a lot of sukriti. We need to have a lot of sukriti from our previous lives so as to practice devotional service. But this very initial momentum is like a catalyst which starts the entire reaction. So Bilva Mangal Thakur, he got transformed. His transformation began when Chintamani said this to him. And as I said, it's not like Bilva Mangal Thakur was a Malecha or a Yavan. He was born in a Brahmin family. But it was not destined for him to receive this realization until Chintamani chastised him, until Chintamani told him. This a very similar incident happened with Goswami Tulsidas Maharaj. Initially, he was unmarried, and he was a devotee of Lord Ram. But later on, when he got married, he got very much attached to his wife. And then his wife said the same thing to him. And then he again started practicing his devotional service. So there are two kinds of devotees. The first kinds are the ones who manifest these traits from the very childhood. Someone like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was born with his umbilical cord wrapped around like a Brahminical thread. He was displaying these characters. Obviously, he's a Nityasiddha Vaishnav. He's not like a normal devotee, but they manifest, they project these traits from the beginning. And sometimes the other devotees, they have to be given a particular jerk. They have to be given a particular realization. For example, Lord Hanuman for a very long time, he did not know how much strength he has. So he had to be reminded over and over again. So I think that, if yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Oh, okay. I see. Hmm. Right. Oh, I see. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I was not aware of that. Thank you so much for sharing this. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Bol.